we've all voted on the 5th. On the dawn of the 6th, we wake up and it's 111 seats, 40% to the vote. What does the Constitution provide to move this forward?
Okay, the next one, please. Who's two?
My question is actually...
Could you stand up and introduce yourself?
My name is Grace. My question would be tonight's talk. There are so few of us, but I think it ought to go on the net. Will you have any plans to put?
Yeah, I think there are plans already.
Yes, because I think the internet is so important to go viral on this, and it's not just us here, it's everybody.
There was another one on this side. There's someone else on this side, no? Okay, Vincent.
Okay, now I just wanted to ask, what exactly...
Can you stand up and introduce yourself?
Okay. My name is Vincent. I just want to ask, what is the exact constitutional role of the military in this country?
Yeah. Maybe you could just stand at your spots and answer.
So you answer now, please.
Yeah.
But yeah, Katie's question. I mean that's a classic hung. It's 101 and 101 is 222. That's hung, and even anything 2, 3
whatever.
around.
I mean,
yeah.
You know what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, but that'll be very dangerous because obviously Parisan just need to buy over a few. So that'll be within a couple of hours. What we call Najib will be sworn in back as the 6th Prime Minister after election. So what I've been saying is
how
that...
does he represent to the Agong that he has the right to lead the Raya?
No, what will happen is...
because of the first 2 posts, is it?
No, what will happen is the king doesn't have to call anybody for 2-3 days, that you can wait on it. And the dirty tricks department would do what happened in Perak, except the price would go up. And within a day, you would get 4 or 5 people switching. And that'll give enough time, and then within 2 or 3 days, Najib will be invited to the palace, because then Najib can say, I have 120 people, 111 who actually were elected by the people on a Parisan ticket, and then 9 who have just switched. So that is absolutely unacceptable, and we don't want. So what I've been advocating, and I didn't have time, is that realistically, Anwar needs 130 seats. 130 seats so that the other side has 92, making it 222, which means it's an 18-seat majority over the minimum, so that assuming 10 people defect, there is still a possibility. So if it's 120 and below, that means 9 and below, forget about it. It's a status quo. And then, that's my, forget about the Constitution. I'm not interested in the Constitution, it's the reality. The Vincent's question, the only role of the military is in the sense that the king is the commander-in-chief, but civilian supremacy over the military is a fundamental feature of Westminster type democracy. So, and fortunately for Malaysia, unlike a lot of our neighbors, from Merdeka, the military has known where their place is in the barracks. And I have no doubts in my mind that they will continue to know where their place is, which is the barracks. Unlike Thailand, Indonesia, and Philippines to some extent, and then of course, if you look at the Commonwealth, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nigeria, so many of the Westminster systems have fallen to the man on the horse. So Malaysia is blessed. So I'm not concerned about that. I'm not worried about the military.
I see. Nothing to say? Okay.
But you agree the hung one is very dangerous. We need a large cushion.
Question over here.
Oh yeah, sorry. Question over here. Sorry. And one over there.
Tommy, sorry,
Yeah.
Albert. Tommy and Malik, I think, made the point that at the end of the day, you can't divorce politics from the economy. My question to them is, if we carry on as we are for another 5 years, are we heading the way of the Philippines? And I say the Philippines because the time when Philippines president was Glorio Macapaga's father, the Philippines was the second richest economy in Asia. Like all, yes, the 1956.
Mid-60s.
Mid-60s.
Malaysia was formed.
And as a reflection of that,
Could you use the microphone?
yes, as a reflection of that, those who could afford maids, like in Malaysia, could not find maids locally, and consequently they had to import maids from places like Hong Kong. Today, of course, one of the major sources of foreign exchange for the Philippines is the export of labor to places like Hong Kong. Is that the way we're heading if we carry on as we are?
And on that side.
I think I'm loud enough first. At a function that I attended, I think about 6 months ago, Anwar Ibrahim stated that he felt extremely comfortable, his words not mine, with a 10-seat majority. Now, mathematically 10 seats, assuming it's 10 million per MP, is only 100 million. Najib just transferred 7 billion out today, so it's not very much money. Even 30 is actually quite dodgy. It's only 300 million. Small amount of money. I think the question probably from a constitutional standpoint is, are we going to see a situation where the young Liquituan Agong is actually going to be the decider of the fate of this country?
One more. Anyone? Yes.
My name is Howard. I got a call this morning from my son who works in Jakarta. He and his wife are going to work for the first time at Jakarta Embassy. And he asked me if it is safe enough for him to work. Safe meaning to work along from the flight back from Jakarta to KL to work with somebody or whatever. That is his concern. And his second concern is this brother-in-law registered about 1.5 years ago, and he checked and he was not on the list. What can he do, or what should he do? That's my question. Thank you.
All right. Would you like to answer? And then we'll take it.
I should have taken the first round.
It's on.
I'm just saying I should have taken the first round of questions. Okay, Lambert, Philippines, I think the answer is quite obvious. We need to sort of work out how we're going to stop this drain of money. And just as an anecdote, going back about 10 years ago, I was doing a case which was fairly controversial. We were suing the government for unit tindakan Khas having assassinated, we say, a pregnant mother. So children were bringing the suit. So a special branch officer was outside, head of courts, and he says, so I sat next to him. He says, I like you. I said, okay, good. You're a nice fellow. You're not so radical. I said, oh, thank you. He says, you know what? You don't understand. I said, what's that? He says, when things go bad here, all of you fellows will just leave the country. Where does that leave us Malays? Right? So, just thinking back to that conversation, I figure when we leave the country, we'll be living with their leaders. And the reality is that's what's happening. We all know it. The amount of capital flight out of this country is shocking. And it troubles me that no one in government seems too troubled about it. And the blatant way in which monies are being spent, public monies, or the way in which public figures are spending money in a way that you can quite easily track. And I figure, if there's ever going to be a change of government, then the next head of MACC should work on a recovery basis. Forget a salary. Just work on, say, 5% of recovery. I'm volunteering for the job, actually. Yeah, I've got assistants volunteering already. So, that's the truth of it. There's some degree of complete, I don't really care about what's happening. And recently when Rosma said, I really want to let young poor people eat cupcakes. Something that strawberry fact, right? Croissant, sorry. I couldn't say that, so I said cupcake. Oh, sorry. What planet are you living on, right? And that's the extent of it. It's ridiculous. So and that reminds me of yet another story about Assad and his wife. You know, their emails were intercepted by WikiLeaks. And this is like, as the war is raging around them, people are dying, bombing, massacres, and so on and so forth. They're talking about what's on so-and-so's iPod, what movies to watch, what fashion to follow, etc., etc. And this is what's happening while a civil war is raging around Assad. And I figure, what makes our guys any different? And that's the truth of it, I think. You know, and I think that really should answer your question. All right. Okay, constitutional standpoint, buying of candidates.
Actually, more of the king.
The king. Oh, sorry. Okay. Well, yeah. Obviously, the king's going to be a very important player in what's going to happen if it's a close call, or even if it's not. At the end of the day, worst case scenario is he may say, you know, I don't know whether I'm ready, or I mean, with no disrespect meant. You know, I think, in all honesty, I think this Agong is probably the best one we could have had, given the circumstances. I'm very happy that it's him. But, you know, I'm cynical, I'm Malaysian, I can't help it. You know, bad things happen all the time. and we learn to accept that they happen and we just deal with it. So, am I holding my breath? I'm not sure. But I'm really happy it's him. Alright, but am I worried that there might be business affiliations? Yes. Am I worried that the Queen might be friendly with Rosma? Perhaps. You know, and so on and so forth. These are unfortunately the questions you have to ask yourself if you're Malaysian when you're thinking about things like this. So yes, obviously the King is playing a very, very important role in this next outcome of elections. And there was another question about...
Queen and Rosma don't like each other.
Yeah, is that right? Okay, so I've been told by Edwin that we're fine because the Queen and Rosma don't like each other. That was the question.
Postal votes.
Postal votes.
For one queen.
Ah, yes, postal votes. Jakarta. Yes, and Jakarta. I'm sorry, what was the question again? I'm so sorry. Safety to vote.
Safe.
Is it safe to vote?
Is it safe? I mean,